Must go on, as the expression goes. So I have with me, very excited to have Monica Irauzqui. Did I say that right?
Irauzqui, that's pretty good. Yeah.
I asked her before we started how to pronounce her last name and fully anticipating that I would forget by the time that I hit record because I'm horrible at these things. So, Erica, really awesome. She is the owner of Yampu Tours and YampuGo. She is a professional family, luxury, and adventure travel specialist. So she is here to share her first time story of going to Africa with her family. So I'm very excited to hear about that. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, Monica, and then we'll get into your story.
My husband and I started our travel company 22 years ago, and we also started our family about that time. We've been spending the last 22 years traveling the world with our family. So we've had many, many, many first time experiences. So I was so excited to come on the show because I just love being able to tell my story, Um,
Awesome.
don't get to do that as much as I'd like to.
Well, I can only imagine when I was preparing the first time lightning round for you, I was like, how am I gonna, what are the odds that I can actually find something that she's never done? So I look forward to playing that with you. See if I did find something that you've never done.
Oh, how
But
fun.
yeah, so but let's get into it. First time traveling to Africa with your family. When, how long ago was it? How did you prepare for it? And what was the experience like?
Okay. Well, it was about 8 years ago. Was the first time I took the family. And most people would decide where to go based on the time of year and what their family wanted to achieve. I decided based on where I hadn't been in Africa, and where my husband hadn't been. So we decided to go to do a month of Tanzania and Kenya and Zanzibar, which is a part of Tanzania. Um, and to get the kids ready, they were 12 and 14. And so first thing you have to do is look at the CDC and see what shots are required. And we had a lot of shots because we had done Asia the year before. So really, I only had to think about malaria. And malaria actually takes a lot of research because the kind of malaria pills you take are different depending on where you're going. And also there's side effects, and there's a whole myriad of information. So I actually wrote a blog on it after I researched it, which is on my webpage, the who, what, when, where of malaria. Because there's a couple of CDC grids that are really nice. Anyway, so you have to decide which malaria pill is right for your family. So that's one thing that we had to do to prepare. Another thing that we had to do to prepare was we were going to go visit a village and a community, and so we always like to take things from home that are really special and meaningful. So we figured out what did the community need, and then we went shopping and got all the stuff together, like colored pencils and markers and little pads of paper, erasers. If you're going to bring pencil, you got to bring the pencil sharpener, because things that we take for granted
Yeah.
here, you have to think about. So that's one of the things we did with the kids.
So how excited were the kids when you told them what you were planning?
Um, so they were excited. My kids have traveled a lot, so they were a little bit jaded. But
They just want to stay home at this point.
it's I think to them once they were in Africa, they said it was their best trip ever. But they probably weren't paying as much attention to me as most kids would pay to their parents. But I do like to prepare them on, I make them pack their own bags. So I give them a packing list, and they have to pack their own bags. My daughter, when she was young, she loved to know what to expect. So I really went through the itinerary with her. Showed her the different camps we were going to visit, what kind of animals to expect to see there. The packing for Africa is a little different because you have to pack just a little. We had to buy special bags that didn't weigh anything because you can only take, I think, about 20 pounds on the small planes. So a suitcase can be 12 pounds. So we had to buy little bags that are soft-sided, that don't weigh much. And our clothing and my daughter used to dress in like bright colors. And we were going for all the beiges and the, so whites and, the safari type of colors. So we were going through that to get prepared. Yeah. Just, really going over like what the rules. One of the things I had to tell the kids is everywhere you go, you're going to meet with the manager and your guide, and they're going to give you rules. And you have to really listen and you have to really pay attention. Your life is depending on it. And that's kind of big lesson when you're only 12 and 14. And they're simple rules, but if you don't abide by them, you could put yourself in a lot of danger. So that's one of the things that I had to really press upon the most with the kids.
Now, for you, because you were going to the country, so you had been to the continent before, not to those particular countries.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like? What was the most memorable thing about your first time in those countries?
Oh, wow. I really enjoyed meeting with the community in the Samburu region of Kenya. Those people, if you ever Google it, they do this dance where they jump, like this jumping dance. They're really tall and skinny. And so you can imagine like a very tall and skinny person jumping up and down. So they taught us to do that. One of my things is that when I send travelers around the world, I want them to come back, not saying, I saw the big five, but I want them to say, I love the people. And that community, because I saw several communities, but that one is the one that really like sticks in my heart. They were so beautiful. Their smiles just came from within. That little dance they did with us. The colors, they were like bright reds and greens and blues and really beautiful colors, in the beads and their clothing. So I just really, really loved that experience. And if I could tell you one more,
Sure.
it was the first time we ever did a hot air balloon.
Oh, awesome.
And we had to get up at 4 a.m. And so it's really kind of cool. I picked a lodge that was very close to where the beginning of the balloon starts, because otherwise you have to get up at 3 a.m. Because the lodges are quite far apart, and it was in the Masai Mara of Kenya. And they were much bigger than I imagined. They had enough room for 8 people, 4 on each side. So the basket was divided in 2, and then there's like a bench, and you put your knees under it, and you start laying down, and with your knees kind of up under this bench, and then it goes upright, and then the fire lifts it off the ground. It was really, really cool. And to see the animals and the plains of the Masai Mara at sunrise
Oh
from a hot
man.
air balloon. It's one of I got to be one of the top 10 experiences of my life.
Oh man, that is awesome. So what do your kids like remember from it? Like what did they still talk fondly of the experience?
Well, they always say it's their favorite. And my daughter, who was 12 at the time, is 20 now, and she loved it so much that she went back for a month to do volunteering in Zambia. So I think that they loved all of the animals, of course. They loved the life. They loved how quiet and still and slow the life was. They loved, th- they were at that point, they were getting really tired of hotel inspections because my kids have always had to go to the hotels with us. I mean, they'll go into a room and go, Mom, that room looks out at the parking lot. I don't think if you're going to use this hotel, you would not want to use them on this side. You got to pick the others. Like it's just what they did their whole childhood. So by the time they were young teens, they were starting to get tired of hotel inspections. So this was kind of a trick because you'd go from camp to camp and it'd be a safari on the way. So they wouldn't notice, they were just so happy with how beautiful it was and the nature and the animals and every animal experience. Like every time I can't tell you what you're going to see in Africa. Everybody's experience is different. And even seeing, like, my experience seeing cheetahs and your experience seeing cheetahs might be different, you know. So every day was different. Every day was a new surprise, and but it was relaxed, and they didn't have to worry. And they, oh, and when you went to the airport, it was like you go to an airstrip and you get on a little plane, and 30 minutes later you get off on an airstrip, and then you take a Jeep to your lodge and you see animals on the way. So it's a whole new experience of airplanes, because for them it's like you go to an airport, you stand in line, you stand in another line, you stand in another line, you take your shoes off, you put your stuff through the thing. You go to stand in another line, you finally get on a plane, you fly an hour, you get off, and you stand in another line to get out, you stand in another line to get your bags, and then so it was very much different experience in Africa, and it makes flying feel good and fun again.
That's awesome. What a memory, and what a great job you have to go to get to go. I mean, obviously it's awesome too that you do get the firsthand experience of what you'll recommend to people, so you can tell the stories and you can tell them what to expect, and what they're going to get. But then that gives you such an awesome opportunity to go experience it for yourself. So I'm
Yeah.
envious
Thank
of
you.
that for sure. And I have not yet been on a African safari, so that is something that's on my list, and I will be in touch when it's
Okay.
time to start looking into it, to get the more pointers and to book it and make sure that I get the most out of my time. I have a feeling, though, I talked to some other folks that have been, that it one experience is not enough. It becomes addictive and you want to explore more.
Yes. Yes, definitely. I mean, if it wasn't so far, I would go like once a year. It's so beautiful.
Oh man. All right. So we are going to play the first time lightning round. Let's see if I have anything on here that you have not done. Okay. Tattoo. Oh, let me explain how it works. So the first time lightning round, I will I will call out a few things, 10 things to be more specific. If you have done it before, it's up. It's the same thing as if you're using the app. You would say swipe up because you've already done it. If you've never done it, are not interested in doing it, then it's left. If you've never done it and would like to, then it's right. So, or you can just say the
Can you go
words.
over that one more time? Let me write that down.
You can just say the words. I've done it, I have it, or never done it, not interested, which would be left, and then never done it, want to do it would be right. But you can just say the
Okay.
words. We'll be good. Okay. Tattoo. Do you have any tattoos? Would you get a tattoo?
Uh, I think it's left. I'm not interested.
Not interested. No tattoo and don't want any tattoos. Okay. Eat insects.
Yes, I've done it.
Okay. When was the first time? What was your first insect, and where did you eat it?
My first insect was, it's so funny to have to say first. My first insect was Ecuador, and it was in the Amazon rainforest, and it was a lemon ant. And then we took it right off the tree and ate it.
Really? What's a
It
lemonette?
tastes like a lemon tart, like those lemon candies.
Really?
Yeah,
And it's just a
yeah,
little ant, little.
yeah. The guy
Huh.
took it off. I mean, back then we weren't scared of each other's fingers. I mean, he probably took it off with his finger and handed it to me. How the world has changed.
Yeah. So it was a living insect. So that's impressive. That's
Yeah.
impressive. I've had crickets, but they were dead. And fried or cooked,
Yeah.
it tasted more like popcorn than anything else. But the life
And then
stuff.
and then I just went to a cruise from where were we? I think we were Vietnam to Cambodia, and we ate a tarantula.
I'm guessing that one was not alive.
No, no,
All
I
right.
only ate the leg.
Oh, well, good on you. I had feeling with that question it was going to be some good stories with you. Okay, fly a kite.
Yes, done it.
Yeah, done it. Okay, so this one, pole dancing or pole fitness class.
No, but I would do it.
Awesome. Yeah, I did it just well, I guess it's probably been a month and a half ago. And I would say though, if you easily get dizzy, uh, be careful because
Okay.
it ended up giving me it gave me motion sickness and I was sick on my way home from doing a
Oh
pole fitness
no.
class. But it was a lot of fun. Like it would be something that I would do on a regular basis 'cause it's great for fitness, great for your coordination. But it made me sick, and I was like, because I get dizzy very easily. Okay, make ice cream.
Um, my dad does it. I don't know if I ever did it with him or not. I think I've done it.
You might have to call Dad up and ask him, like, hey, did I ever help you make ice cream? Okay, donate books.
Yes.
Yes, that's all right. Invest in real estate.
Yes.
Yes. What's the first real estate property you've owned?
The first one was in Miami. Miami Beach was our first house when the kids were, well, my daughter wasn't even born yet. I think yeah, right after she was born, she moved into that house. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Drive a Ferrari.
No, but I would love to do that.
That's all right. That's add to the list. Go to a Christmas market.
I would have to say no, not specifically Christmas market, but I definitely want to do that in Russia and
Oh,
Poland and
Germany.
maybe,
There are really great ones in Germany.
yeah, I'd love to do that in Germany. Yes.
Yeah, all right. Did pretty good finding some things you hadn't done yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Play poker.
Yes, I've done it.
All
I
right.
love it.
Did you win? Are you a good poker player?
No, I only do it with my family, but probably didn't win. We are a really competitive family.
Oh, well, I hear you on that. My dad taught us how to gamble, and yes, then there was
Well,
we
you're
got
from Vegas. You got to do it, right?
well, I just moved there. I'm not from here, but yeah,
Oh,
I still got to in the gambling thanks to my dad at a young age. I'm not, I'm not a big. I I've only been to the casinos because people came here to visit me. Otherwise, I'm not a gambler by
yeah.
nature. Okay, so that is it for the first time lightning round. The next thing is the prompt of the day. So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm posting a prompt each day in the 365 First Challenge page for people to share a first time story with friends and family so that they can stay in touch, stay connected, grow closer, get to know each other better. And today's prompt is the story of your first kiss. Are you willing to share that with us?
Wow. Um, I think it was a lifeguard at the swimming pool
All right.
in Brown County, Indiana. I just had a crush on this lifeguard, and when he would get a break, we would hang out. And I believe that he was my first kiss. Isn't that crazy? I don't remember exactly. Oh my God, that's embarrassing.
No, I mean
But
that's the
yeah,
thing. That's the thing about like the prompts and first time story. It makes you dig into your memory bank, start really remembering.
yeah, this is a really good concept. I really love it. I was reading about your first times this morning, and I'm really excited, to get to know more about what you're doing.
Awesome. Yeah, my first kiss, I was only 6 years old, and I was a flower girl, and it was the little boy, the ring bearer, and we were at the reception, and I think it's because we were still dressed up like the bright, the bride and groom, and we were outside, and he just gave me a peck, and it was just like, but it's one of those things. It's really in my memory. Um, God knows there's a lot that's not, but I do remember that.
That's so
So,
cute.
yeah. All right. So the final thing is, how can you share with us, for you, how you are managing through the coronavirus crisis, and how you keeping sane, keeping yourself entertained, and what, on a positive high note, what you recommend for people to do uh, to make the best out of this?
Well, I'm in the travel industry, so it's been really stressful. The first few weeks of the coronavirus epidemic was rearranging people's trips, and sometimes new laws came about while they were on their trip. So, for example, I had two guys going to Vietnam, and I was really worried about because Vietnam was one of those countries that was the best at keeping people out really early, so that they never had a curve there. You know, they had a little bit. They had someone that came from a Chinese village that had been working, and he got some people in his village sick in Vietnam, so they quarantined the whole village. You can do that in communist country, and you don't let anyone out, but they contained their virus. So my clients were on the way to Vietnam, and they, as they were changing planes in Seoul, because I had them fly through Korea, not China, because China was a problem. They were changing planes in Seoul. There was a big sign, because I'd been watching it, but it hadn't happened yet, and happened while they were on the plane, that they decided not to let if anyone came from Korea, they were going to be quarantined. There's a big sign. If you're coming from Korea to Vietnam, you're going to be quarantined. So they were very cute. They took pictures with the sign. So then they called, and they decided to fly to Bangkok and not Vietnam. So I had to get up at 4 a.m. and redo the itinerary for Thailand and Laos, and a really adventurous itinerary. So I did that. By the time they landed in Thailand, they had a whole new plan ready for them. So that first few weeks was just managing crises like that. And then now that almost the whole world is shut down, everyone is home, because you have, sometimes we had 72 hours to get people out, or sometimes we had 24 hours to get people out. So now everyone is home, and we are working on getting the new trips that we've been selling that aren't on the website on the website.
All right.
Yeah.
Making use of the time. Now, how, because I'm curious, because somebody mentioned this, and I'm wondering, for those of us who do love to travel and are waiting for this madness to end, how much do you think we'll benefit from this? Like, how much cheaper do you think everything will be, like, initially?
So I'm not finding that the hotels that I work with are bringing their prices down.
Really?
I changed somebody from May to October, and they said the hotels, that's high season, and the hotels aren't giving discounts because they're losing so much money. But the airfare, and that's just because I deal with places that are really specific. There's tiny, like sometimes they're like, this is like the Douro Valley we're talking about in Portugal. So it's like there's not a lot of hotel. If you're going to a big city, it might be different. But the airfare, however, is you're going to get good deals. If you decide to plan now for future trips, you're going to get good deals on the airfare. Like I was just looking at airfare to Peru and South America, and there's some incredible deals right now. So if you want to plan, this is the time to get some really good airfare deals. It's just kind of like the stock market. You buy stocks when the market crashes. If you
Yeah,
don't need the money, right now, and you can wait a year, 4 years, you buy
you
when it's
buy.
low. Same thing with
Yeah.
plane tickets. If there's a big world virus and nobody's traveling, go buy all your plane tickets.
I might need to buy a couple plane tickets. They're refundable. You can change the dates at least, so you can lock in the price and then fly at a different time.
Yeah. Another thing with the hotels and lodges and safari lodges is that they're allowing a lot of them. Most people are allowing us to change people's dates to almost up to a year out. So for that reason, they're going to be busier when we can travel again. So that's another reason why they're not like going really,
Yeah.
really low on those.
Hmm. All right. Well, that is good to know. It's all about making the best out of this and figuring out how
Yeah.
to do it. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, Monica. This is really fun, and I love learning more about you. And yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you, Anne. I love learning about your program too, and I'm going to be following you from now on. This is fun.
Thanks. Yeah. So, for all of those who are not watching this live and now you're watching the recording, thank you for watching the recording. Hopefully, tomorrow we will be back to regular programming and I can go live.
Thank